I forgot I didn't have my mic on. Hello, Doug. Good to see ya. Turn down my music. Let's see. Hey, Jerry. How's it going? I think you and Doug came running in, tripping over each other. That's what I think happened. So, I am getting the claw cam set up as we speak. But, let me see. Let me get this in the holder so I don't screw everything up. Ugh. Oh, this phone is this is my old phone. It's too big. I got a new phone, so I've been messing around. Hey, Nadia, what's up? I've been messing around with stuff, and so, I cleaned up, and I think it's more of a mess than it was before. Good grief. Somebody help me. Oh, my goodness. Okay, so while I get this stuff all set up, I got too much paraphernalia. That's the problem. What the heck am I going to do with this? Okay, we'll do it like that. I have to juggle my light and my microphone so that they don't mess with each other. They don't get in each other's way. But yet I still have light on what I'm doing. So I'm not banging into everything. And just so you know, I don't know if anybody else will be in here, but I am streaming on Rumble, Twitch, and what's the other one? Oh, YouTube, Rumble, and Twitch. That's where I am. Duh. Good grief. So how is everybody doing? I hope you guys are all having an awesome night. Well, first prize is a popsicle, and I happen to have 2 popsicles, so I'll give you guys each one. They're the Rocket Pops. Or I also have Snickers ice cream bars. I'll give those as first prize too. Okay. There's the light. Got it. Okay. So, I just stuck my hand in some paint. So, I do, Jerry. You know how I am. So, let me get down to business. So, what I'm going to be doing is I wanted to have some little bit more, when I first did the French nails, I wanted, what do you call it? I just wanted to leave them French because I really, really liked that look. And if you wear nails, when you first get those pink and whites done, like they're just so pretty. And, but now I'm ready for a little bit of color, but not too much. So I am going to be doing just kind of a fun summer look that if you don't want to go as wild as like the 90s nails that we did a couple lives ago, this is something where you can still have some, like a pop of color. You can still have some fun, but not be completely wild. It would be cute to go into like a business situation. This can go on long, short nails, medium nails, stilettos, square, round, whatever you, whatever your heart desires. And just FYI too, my thumbnail is spelled wrong because I tried a new program to make a thumbnail tonight, and I didn't even think about telling it how to spell the name that I wanted. So I've got it fixed. I just have to wait until, I think I have to wait until the stream is over to change it, I think. I'm gonna check, but I'm not positive, so oops. But I did have, I was gone yesterday. We were trying to go get phones and all that stuff, and everything was just absolute craziness. And by the time I got home, it was late, and I didn't have time to go through everything. When I left, Elena Moore was just missing still. And when I got home, they had found a body close to where she was last seen. So that's where we're at with that. But first, I do have something funny that I wanted to play to you. I saw truth. We were laughing about this. She sent this to me, and I had a little fun with it. So, do I have it? Oh, I don't have it up on stage. So everybody get ready, because we are going to have a boxing lesson tonight. Ted Investigates from the JLR Army apparently has been boxing all of his life. And he has challenged White Boy Radio to a boxing match for charity. And as far as I know, White Boy is still waiting on the date. I don't know. I don't know him, so I'm going to find out when the rest of you are. But I could not stop laughing when I watched this little clip of a video. And my mind, when you watch this, hey, Truth, how you doing? So I added some stuff to it, because this is all the noises and the things that I saw in my brain while I watched this. So you're going to get a look inside my brain. So here we go. And this is all in good fun. So it's known I'm not a fan of the whole AZ crew, but I do think this was funny. So
your guy away, right? But when you're throwing a punch, you keep your, they're taping your gloves. You keep your hands open first. Everybody thinks you close firm fist and throw a punch. If you throw a punch, do it right now with me, guys. Throw a punch. You're slower. You're slower with the boxing glove on. You keep your hands open. So then when I throw a punch, I'm throwing the punch, and then right when I get to your face, I'm tightening my fist. That way I can go like this.
Everyone.
I can snap it out quicker, right? Snap it out quicker. So I have my hand open, and then I shut it last minute. Okay. I'll stop all this. And then, it's all about wingspan. How far is his reach? My distance from his, usually you spar the person beforehand. I mean, that's what most boxers do. I want to know, what's his best punch? Does he uppercut? Does he go up and down? A lot of boxers, like I said, bounce. They go up and down. They go up and down. So then as soon as they go up and down, boom, a combo. So a lot of boxers do that, and they don't even realize they're doing it. They're bouncing up and down. They're bouncing up and down because they're jumping up and down because they're trying to keep your feet light, right? You're trying to keep your feet light. So these are just basic boxing things. Guard your shoulder, roll your punches, roll your chin. When you know you're going to get hit, don't keep your chin still or your head's done. Roll. I'm telling you, if someone hits you, for your own safety reasons, if someone swings, just move your head a little bit. And then it will keep your brain from rattling, because your brain's only like a half millimeter from hitting your skull. That's what knocks you out, right? So you roll it, and it absorbs any hit. I've been hit by big people. I roll my neck, and you roll your neck, and you're in pretty good shape. So anyways, I'll stop talking about this nonsense. But yeah, I mean, you take boxing down to a science, especially if I'm going to fight a guy 300 pounds bigger than me. You know what I mean? So you have to measure where his reach is, what his best punch is, what are his little nuances that he does, how does he keep his footwork, what does he do after he throws a punch, what does he do when he misses after he throws a punch. You know, when you put your arms up, let him throw himself out a little bit, take some shots, guard your body. There's a lot of different science behind how to win a fight. So I'm just saying. So a lot of people go, oh, skinny Ted, wimpy Ted. Well, you know, oh, wait. Sorry, guys. I got to find this house.
So there you have it. Oh, sorry. I didn't see you ask about it being bigger. I can't. No, that was full screen. So nope, I cannot. I am on. I was trying to figure all this stuff out with oh, what do you call it? With editing all of the stuff for to share on the different platforms. So but I don't think I did a great job. So because this is not letting me. Yeah, see, it's not like I'm gonna have to figure this out. It's not letting me separate the two windows like I used to be able to. But no, I thought it was funny, and I just had to, like I said, I just kind of clipped it and took a little bit of it and had a good laugh about it because just yeah, I mean, gosh, it's just like, come on, guy. Can't take everything so seriously, right? No, I was trying to find my layout from the other day. Where I had nope. That's not what I wanted to do. No, see, I'm trying to figure this out, but it's not giving me the same layout ability that I had the other night, and I don't know why. Oh, I don't know. I have absolutely no idea. If you want me to be completely honest, not a clue, Jerry. There we go. This is what I wanted to do. Move this up here. Move this over here. And there we go. Oh, hey, look at you in two different spots. Good to see you. I think you're my first person. Let's see. Okay, we're just going to remove Twitch because apparently it didn't like my title. So whatever, I don't care. So we'll figure that out another night. So Rumble and YouTube it is. But just to let everybody know, my Rumble link is in my link tree. I was trying to go on Twitch, but it didn't like my title apparently. So it wouldn't let me go live. So I don't know. Who knows what part of it. It didn't like. StreamYard gets that way too with certain names, certain things like that. So you just never know. But yeah, so that's my funny for Ted Investigates. And we will watch that again at the end too, just because I think it's funny and I kept laughing. Like I literally almost peed my pants watching. Yeah, it never ended up going live on Twitch. In my link tree and under my bio is if you go to my main channel page and you click more, all my links will be there. I've got Rumble, Twitch, TikTok, IG. I don't have my Facebook on there yet. YouTube. What else? I think that's it for right now. Oh, I've got my website on there, and I'm slowly but surely getting all my links, all my stuff up there. So yeah, if you want to follow me on any of those, all you have to do is click that link and it'll take you right to my page, and then you can just click follow. So I don't have like any subscriptions or anything like that opened up or anything yet. I just have just regular old streams and whatever. So like what I can do is if StreamYard saves this, I can just upload it to Twitch, I think. So I'm not worried about it. I figure I got Rumble going, so I'm happy with that at least. So I didn't screw that up. Whoop. Let me see. I'm going to put this kind of down here. Okay. I think we have got our layout for the night. Hey, here I am. Hello. I'm over here and I'm over here. I've got all of my stuff up. I'm just going to, in fact, I'm going to close Twitch's window right out. So, and like I was thinking, Twitch, I might just do, I might not do like all of the true crime stuff on there. It might just be more of like the nail stuff. So I haven't really decided yet. I'm still learning all this stuff. So I just figured out how to put them all into StreamYard. So I was pretty proud of myself with that. And so with that, now let me find, because now I have to look over top of this stuff. Now, what did I say first? Oh, Bryan Hooker. So, because I got in late last night, I ended up actually being able to catch up on some of these, Ashleigh Banfield and Nancy Grace, which I never use. I used to watch Nancy Grace a lot, but I don't really watch her that much anymore. But last night, it was actually kind of funny. Was it last night or the night before? I was watching it. I couldn't sleep and I started watching it. And all of a sudden, when I was like halfway through, I realized that Truth had messaged me and say, "Hey, I never watched Nancy Grace, but you got to watch this." So I started watching it. And as I'm watching it, she was interviewing one of Bryan Hooker's ex good friends. Okay. He and his wife, another sailing couple. And he was talking, and this was someone else that he had called and talked to about different things. And he had said that, his information just wasn't matching. This guy knows the water really well too. He was talking about the camera on the Hooker's boat and that it has like a FLIR set up to it. So, and he said he saw this in action. And what it does is it helps when people go overboard. So you can find a heat signature of someone in the water if it's dark or whatever. And he said that he could see his wife walking the entire, what do you call it? The entire dock back into the boat. And he said, you couldn't see anything, like you couldn't see her clothing or anything like that, but it was a human form walking down. Oh, and I got to do Twitter too, Nadia. I'm glad you said that. I think, did I put my ex up there? I'm not sure if I did or not. And, oh, that reminds me too, before I forget, because I always forget, I'm going to remember this stuff one of these days, and you guys are just going to be shocked. You're not going to have to babysit me. And it's just going to be a good day. So this is I need to put this on there too. Need to remember if it's not on there. But this is the Discord link too. And I try to announce my lives in there, and I'm going to be working on okay, good deal. Thank you. I could not remember what all I did. It's in the links in my on my channel tab in my where you click more and it's got all the links on it. Was that what you were talking about with a link tree? Let me find her right here. Excuse me. So it's right. Let me show you. So right here, if you go under where it says welcome to Cutsy's Claws and Crime, under here it says 6 more links. You click on that. And it's got all my all my stuff's on there so far. Oh, I do have Facebook on there. Okay. I do have Facebook on there. And then the nail website is the top one. Oh. Oh, okay. I did not know that. So then I will work on that this weekend. Cool beans. See, I learned something new every single day. Okay. Oh, I didn't mean to. Did I mean to do that? I don't know if I meant to do that. I thought I was showing that to you, but I was not. So, welcome to my life. Oh boy. One of these days, I'm gonna get it right. Except you guys are just gonna pass out because you're not even gonna know what hit you. Okay. Okie doke. I can't click on anything right now because I'm on StreamYard, but I will check that out. So, let me do this really quick. Ugh. Where is... Oh, good grief. I need an extra desk is what I need. But, let's see. Let's see. Oh, I saw that he was reading the Bible. Yes. I did see that. I did. Well, that happens sometimes. It happens to the best of us, right? It's so hard being good. Oh man. No, did you see? The video that I played is I'm gonna upload it as a short later on, but yeah, I just couldn't help myself. Boxing with Ted. I mean, at least he makes me laugh. The rest of them don't make me laugh at all. But he, at least it's just like a bad sitcom, you know? Oh my gosh. Oh, hang on one sec. I got to grab some water. Ouch. Okay. Sorry about that. I always forget something. Oh, for real. He's going to see him. That's for sure. I mean, well, you just got to roll. You just got to roll your jaw, Doug. You just got to, and you got to, you got to know how he bounces up and down. Because that's what's important. Not all this other stuff. And, he's been boxing for a while. So, oh my gosh. That could be pretty interesting. I gotta say. That could definitely be very interesting. One second. Let me get all this stuff out of the way. Like I said, I cleaned this room the other day and it now officially looks worse than it did. But hey, I found a bunch of stuff and that's what's really important, right? But anyway, so what I was saying, see, I'm so squirrely tonight, so you guys just bear with me. So apparently Bryan Hooker has given yet another timeline. Ouch. And yeah. Well, he's got the first part right. I mean, so I almost, funny enough, put a butterfly background on that video just because I thought it was funny, but I thought that might be pushing it a little too far. And I do not want to be the person that finally makes Ted snap. Because it's probably not going to be pretty. Like I said, just a little light-hearted humor. Not, Oh my God. But yeah, so I thought that was kind of funny. Just a second. New phone, like I said, and I'm still not. I can't find anything on it because everything's moved. And because I always forget, do me a super huge solid and hit the thumbs up for me if you haven't already. And if you are new, hit the subscribe button and the notification bell if you want to come back and hang out with us and yeah, see what we do. We do a lot of I got a little friend in my pocket. I do a lot of stuff on here. We do definitely true crime, nails, health and wellness. Oh no. Bad storms. We don't have storms right now, knock on whatever this is. We've had a lot of rain. And that's never really any fun. So but I mean I don't have to water anything right now, so I guess that's a plus. Just gotta find your pluses, right? Your pluses and your and forget the minuses with stuff. Ow. Okay. So let's get started on this first. So, this really kind of bothered me when I heard it, and I just kind of caught it, and then I realized that Nancy Grace just kind of caught it too. She was like, wait a minute. And I think I got the right spot right now. I was trying to hurry and do my timestamps and everything. But where am I at? So we're gonna give it a little speed boost.
Tonight, does Bryan Hooker place himself in the water with Lynette when she falls overboard?
I was keeping a very stiff upper lip because she is strong. I mean, she's a regular swimmer, not like a athlete or anything, but she's determined, and she was head the flare pistol I had slid down one of the sponsons down towards the stern.
So did you hear that? It sounded like I thought I heard him say she had one of the flare pistols or starter pistols I had and slid down one of the sponsons down towards the stern.
And the dinghy, I took so many waves over the dinghy, I bailed about 5 or 6 times. I had to bail out the cockpit, but the inside also got wet. The dinghy key was not attached to me.
He had to bail out of the cockpit.
So when we were around trying to get back in the boat, the sun was falling. When it kind of dropped out, it was a magnet key, for the electric motor. And it was a cascade of failures, and it's something I'm never going to forgive myself for.
So that's him from our friends at Fox News Digital and Unmasked True Crime Podcast. First to you, Daniel Danforth. She was hit with a flare pistol?
That's not how I heard it. But did you notice he talked about the cockpit?
What? She was hit with a flare pistol? I'm looking right at it, what he said on the phone call. And then he goes on to say, we were effing around trying to get back in the boat.
And I believe these are some of the phone calls, or one of the phone calls from that friend, that Blaine. That was the sailing cameos that were on Ashleigh Banfield.
What do you make of it?
I feel like they were possibly trying to get back. There's a couple of contradictions in that. He said he was on the stern and the cockpit was filling full of water. That's talking about the sailboat, not necessarily talking about the dinghy. And so this was kind of like, it's kind of new information. I hadn't heard this account yet.
Okay, to you.
And that was my big clue. As soon as I heard him say the cockpit, I thought, wait a minute. And stern, I mean, yes, technically there's a stern on a bow on a dinghy, but it's not. You would more, in my opinion, in my mind, you'd refer more of that like on a bigger boat. You would refer to those parts.
Dave Mack joining us, Crime Stories investigative reporter. He and Vanessa have been on the case from the very beginning when we heard Lynette went overboard. Dave Mack, do I have that statement correct? And to whom was Bryan Hooker speaking?
Bryan Hooker called fellow boater and friend Blaine Stevenson 2 days after Lynette vanished in the Bahamas. Now, Stevenson related this story to Fox News Digital that at a moment in that phone call, Bryan places himself in the water that night. This contradicts his account that he stayed in the dinghy while she drifted away.
And that's what it sounded like to me. Because bailing water out of the cockpit, you'd be in the sailboat.
It is exactly as you just quoted, Nancy. He says that I bailed about 5 or 6 times. I had to bail out the cockpit, but that the inside also got wet. And so the dinghy key was not attached to me, so when we were effing around trying to get back in the boat, word for word, Hooker to Blaine Stevenson.
Dan, you're right. There is no cockpit in a dinghy.
No, it's just a little open tub, and they didn't really have a bailing device that, that has a bilge pump that pumps out automatically.
That's what I thought too. What would they have used to bail out? Because you didn't ever see any cups or anything like that. Nothing that would make a big difference.
Exactly.
I just see so many red flags with this. What does it mean she was hit with a flare pistol? I mean, to me, that sounds like the pistol accidentally fired and hit her. Or is he saying the pistol rolled down the...
I thought he said she had the pistol.
Dinghy and hit her in the leg. What is he saying?
It's kind of odd because most people don't carry flares in their dinghy. Like the flare is more for the sailboat. To carry a flare gun on a dinghy that you're just going to and from shore. They're not like you're out cruising around or out in the ocean. A flare is used for search and rescue to try to get attention brought towards you. So it's kind of odd that there would even be a flare gun brought up. I feel like a lot of it is just the story's kind of mixed up, and that's what's happening.
Exactly. The story's kind of mixed up. But remember, there was a flare that was spotted that evening going off. And it's been debated whether it was straight across, or straight up. But there was a flare seen that night. And there was a big splash heard. About what, 9:30, I think it was.
Happen when you don't tell the truth is that the stories start to overlap each other, and that there's so many contradictions to what happened, what he told me, and then what he told the other witnesses. And somewhere or another, the truth will finally be revealed. That's what I'm hoping comes out.
You're on cross-examination. Who is our next sponsor? Well,
so this was just all really odd. I want to listen to that part again. Where was that?
now, I agree with you, but I would like you to explain.
The thing that stuck out for me from the beginning is I always thought it was strange that's the one thing he threw out in that shallow water. But it's interesting that we've never
Himself in the water with Lynette when she falls overboard.
I was keeping a very stiff upper lip because she is strong. I mean, she's a regular swimmer, not like a athlete or anything, but she's determined, and she was the flare pistol I had slid down one of the sponsons down towards the stern, and the dinghy, I took so many waves over the dinghy, I bailed about 5 or 6 times. I had to bail out the cockpit, but the inside also got wet. The dinghy key was not attached to me, so when we were around trying to get back in the boat, the sun was falling. When it kind of dropped out, it was a magnet key, for the electric motor, and it was a cascade of failures, and it's something I've never.
It wasn't attached to him. And did he just say when we fell out of the boat?
I bailed about 5 or 6 times. I had to bail out the cockpit, but the inside also got wet. The dinghy key was not attached to me, so when we were around trying to get back in the boat, the sun was falling. When it kind of dropped out, it was a magnet key, for the electric motor, and it was a cascade of failures, and it's something I've never.
And if it wasn't attached to him, that meant he was driving, if he's going to say that, in my opinion. And he said, yeah, when they fell out of the boat. Did they fall off of soulmate because they were fighting? He's talking about, she was a good swimmer. She wasn't a great swimmer. Could that have been the splash? Both of them maybe tussling, like you said, flashlights on the boat afterwards. He turned out the lights so nobody could see, and he's trying to figure out everything he's got to take to get in the dinghy. Maybe he drowned her. I think, wasn't it Doug that said that thought about her drowning? And that could be it too. Yeah. Could have jumped in. Jumped in after her. Finished her off. Ties her up somewhere right there, right? Then he doesn't have to worry about getting a limp, lifeless body in a dinghy like we all were thinking, right? So there we go. Yeah. Oh, I bet he did too. And then all he's got to do, could have hooked her there and then gotten in the dinghy later that night. Pulled her wherever he needed to go. I thought the CGIS did, though. But how many weeks later, though? That's something that was weird, too. That she talks about later on. Bryan was in jail from the 10th or the 8th to the 13th, I thought she said. But someone was on that boat. They think, the AIS went off several times during that between the 10th and the 13th. Before, how did she say that? Let me see if I can find it.
I'm gonna forgive myself for.
So that's him from our friends at Fox News Digital and Unmasked True Crime Podcast. First to you, Daniel Danforth. She was hit with a flare pistol. What? She was hit with a flare pistol? I'm looking right at it, what he said on the phone call. And then he goes on to say, we were effing around trying to get back in the boat. What do you make of it?
I feel like they were possibly trying to get back. There's a couple of contradictions in that. He said he was on the stern and the cockpit was filling full of water. That's talking about the sailboat, not necessarily talking about the dinghy. And so this is kind of like, it's kind of new information. I hadn't heard this account yet.
Yeah, I don't think he would have left her right there, because he would have most definitely gotten caught. But I think, or he would have thought of being caught. But I think that when we kept trying to figure out how in the world did he get her over the side into soulmate and all of that, I think if there was a fight and they both fell over, because like he said, they were effing around. And maybe that was part of the effing around. Her trying to get in. And he drowned her. Allegedly, possibly. And then he keeps her tied up out there until he goes in with his flashlight, gets all the stuff figured out, whatever. He's meshing two different stories together. It sounds like he's meshing a dinghy and a sailboat both together.
Okay, to you, Dave Mack joining us, Crime Stories investigative reporter. He and Vanessa have been on the case from the very beginning when we heard Lynette went overboard. Dave Mack, do I have that statement correct? And to whom was Bryan Hooker speaking?
Hey, Matthew. How you doing?
Bryan Hooker called fellow boater and friend Blaine Stevenson 2 days after Lynette vanished in the Bahamas. Now, Stevenson related this story to Fox News Digital that at a moment in that phone call, Bryan placed.
Exactly. There is no reason for him to throw her the flare gun unless he was throwing it at her. I swore he said she had the flare gun and slid down the transom. Or not the transom, the, whatchamacallit. It's those tubes along the side of the dinghy.
Himself in the water that night. This contradicts his account that he stayed in the dinghy while she drifted away. It is exactly as you just quoted, Nancy. He says that I bailed about 5 or 6 times. I had to bail out the cockpit, but that the inside also got wet. And so the dinghy key was not attached to me, so when we were effing around trying to get back in the boat, word for word, Hooker to Blaine Stevenson.
Dan, you're right. There is no cockpit in a dinghy.
No, it's just a little open tub, and they didn't really have a bailing device. It has a bilge pump that pumps out automatically.
I just see so many red flags with this. What does it mean she was hit with a flare pistol?
Immediately find the one piece he does bring up in his statement close by to where he landed. To me, that seems a little suspicious, just my opinion.
And tonight, does Bryan Hooker place himself in the water with Lynette when she falls overboard?
I was keeping a very stiff upper lip because she is strong. She's a regular swimmer, not like a athlete or anything.
Here. Let me do this too.
Himself in the water with Lynette when she falls overboard.
I was keeping a very stiff upper lip because she is strong. She's a regular swimmer, not like a athlete or anything, but she's determined, and she was hit. The flare pistol I had slid down one of the sponsons down towards the stern, and the dinghy, I took so many waves over the dinghy, I bailed about 5 or 6 times. I had to bail out the cockpit, but the inside also got wet.
Yeah, I didn't understand that either. Stiff upper lip. She was hit with the flare pistol I had. So, yeah, maybe he shot it at her. We were wondering that. It would be interesting. Maybe that's what happened to the green shirt. Because, I know my stepbrother one time got hit by a bottle rocket. And it left this big black streak on his shirt. So, or if it was stuck to the shirt and it was on fire. Maybe she jumped in the water because it lit her shirt on fire. And maybe that's the shirt's gone a different way or sunk because it left her before she lost her life. Let's see.
Statement close by.
And tonight, does Bryan Hooker place himself in the water with Lynette when she falls overboard?
I was keeping a very stiff upper lip because she is strong. I mean, she's a regular swimmer, not like a athlete or anything, but she's determined. And she was the flare pistol I had slid down one of the sponsons down towards the stern. And the dinghy, I took so many waves over the dinghy, I bailed about 5 or 6 times. I had to bail out the cockpit, but the inside also got wet. The dinghy key was not attached to me, so when we were around trying to get back in the boat, and the sun was falling when it kind of dropped off. It was a magnet key, for the electric motor. And it was a cascade of failures, and it's something I'm never going to forgive myself for.
So that's him from our friends at Fox News Digital and Unmasked True Crime Podcast. First to you, Daniel.
Yeah, so had slid down. So yeah. Was that possibly from trying to pull someone back in to the boat that was in the water to take them somewhere? And that's why there's water in the dinghy. It sounds like he's mixing up 2 separate stories. So that's what I don't understand, is the 2 separate stories intertwined into one, because a dinghy doesn't have a cockpit. And if someone was possibly shooting a flare gun at me, I would probably jump in the water. If someone was throwing one at me, it could have taken me off guard and knocked me out of the boat. And yeah, but it's like he said, that's the funny thing, is when you tell the truth, the truth stays the same no matter what, right? The truth is the truth. It doesn't waver because it's the truth. And I think Bryan has a really hard time with the truth. So that's something that's going to be interesting. Now, we don't know, we still don't know what the Coast Guard has. Hoping electronic devices that show him. Ashleigh has, given us major, relief, saying, don't worry. There is nothing like no body, no trial. And that's just it. If the circumstantial evidence is overwhelming, then, I'm just filing the cuticles down. Not the cuticles, but the edge really quick. And it's easier for me to do. There's nothing to see, because it's really hard for me to file around that nail stand. So, all right, let's see. I want to find where she says something else that.
And forth, she was hit with a flare pistol. What? She was hit with a flare pistol? I'm looking right at it, what he said on the phone call. And then he goes on to say, we were effing around trying to get back in the boat. What do you make of it?
I feel like they were possibly trying to get back. There's a couple of contradictions in that. He said he was on the stern and the cockpit was filling full of water. That's talking about the sailboat, not necessarily talking about the dinghy. And so this is kind of new information. I hadn't heard this account yet.
Okay, to you, Dave Mack joining us, Crime Stories investigative reporter. He and Vanessa have been on the case from the very beginning when we heard Lynette went overboard. Dave Mack,
I am not sure where it's at, but I am going to do this before I start. So hang on one second. BRB. Oops. Ouch. Okay. Well, that's what I was trying to figure out. I went and looked it up online, how a dinghy, what where is a sponson in a dinghy? And it showed me it was the hard, like the tubes that along the side that keep it from capsizing, basically. And it was showed on a dinghy, like where they would be. They'd be like along that edge. But I think that I think in his mind, he knew that whatever happened, it happened on the sailboat. But he was telling everyone that it happened on the dinghy. So his brain is fighting between the truth and the lie. And has been alleged to drink quite a bit. So I'm sure that after something like this happened, that he was probably pretty happy. And that's what I don't understand, though. Why would he have slid it down to her? Like, there's literally no reason. And you would think that they, would, what do you want to say? You would think that they would have found evidence of a soulmate taking on water, if that's what he's trying to say. I wonder if he just didn't quite have his story worked out yet when he was talking to them. He had told the police one thing, but maybe couldn't remember what he told them because it was a lie. And then comes back and is telling Blaine. Now, that's the second story, because I had not heard that story from Blaine previously. I'd only heard that they were just out, just leaving the restaurant. And, the seas and the winds and everything got crazy, and the storm of the century blows up, and boom, she's out of the boat, floating away from him, and he's still in the boat, according to him. So, and there would literally be absolutely no reason to be shooting a flare off of Soulmate that night. And he did make a good point. You don't normally carry a flare gun in a dinghy because there's no need for it, because whatever you're doing, you're usually just making short trips. You would literally think the size of that you could have called out and someone would have heard you. So I don't know. I don't like this attorney she had on there either, because he's a big old excuse maker. But that's what we've got new so far with Bryan Hooker. So, yeah, but usually people don't, and this guy even said it. Usually people don't have flare. You take as little as you need on your dinghy because you don't have a lot of room. And normally, unless you're making a big trip, flares are more for big emergencies. And on a dinghy, you shouldn't be going a distance to where you wouldn't have help nearby, that you wouldn't need a dinghy. And now the story is that he didn't have the key tied to him. But he told Blaine and the police that first night that Lynette grabbed the key on her way out of the dinghy. So, and now he's saying that it sounded like it was this, like he said, just a bunch of bad events where they're, falling out of this dinghy for 20 minutes, apparently, grabbing all the stuff out. And he gets back in. So did you get back in the dinghy or not, Bryan? Like, what happened? Oh, he is. He is he is changing his story. And that's exactly it. He's not telling the same story. And if it was the truth, it would not change. He's told the police something. He's told her family something. He's told Blaine 2 different things. But now they're wondering if he's even in the country anymore. So, we had thought about that. We had wondered that. I mean, it's possible. Oh, I've got to check one more thing. Where is you? Got to find. Because I had to respell it. Why is this over here? Oh, this is dumb. I'll have to change it later. I was trying to get my thumbnail fixed to spell Elena's name correctly. But no, and that's just it. Literally none of them, not one single one of them makes sense. So no matter what, we know he's lying. And it's just, he's guilty. We know he is, and it's sad because it's just going to be a matter of trying to find that one thing. Where is it? Oh, don't tell me I lost it again. Oh, that's why. That's why. Here we go. Oh, I know, but I notice. It'll bug me. It'll bug the daylights out of me. And I already made a new one. I just have to put it up, but I have to wait until, because this is like all these different streams, I have to wait until, oh, I spelled Elena's name wrong on the thumbnail. And that bugs me just because, I don't know. I just think it's one of those things where I just want to make sure I'm being respectful of someone and in all my notes, everything is written correctly. And I didn't even think when I made that thumbnail. I tried a new program to make the thumbnail. And what I did was I just spoke into it instead of typing into it because my arm was hurting. And see, I knew it. See. But so yeah, so I know that her name is spelled Elema. I just assumed because they spelled the rest of the names right that it would spell that one, and didn't even realize until I had just realized it. And Truth had messaged me, and I was literally like putting it in to make a different one, like as she was messaging me to tell me. So, yeah, it's I looked it up online. It's Elena, just to make sure. So, it was probably however I spoke it into the thing, but it bugs me. I'm a detail person. So, but we have got the timeline for Elena Moore. She was 39 years old from Lexington, South Carolina, missing on June 11th. She was reported missing on June 12th by her husband. Her body, well, now I'm not sure because I didn't even say, I believe have they identified yeah, my twang, yeah. I believe have they definitely identified her yet? The last I had gotten to check, the medical examiner still needed to say definitely whether or not it was her, but the clothing that this person that they found was wearing was matched what she had been wearing when she was last seen. Oh, I still watch Murder, She Wrote. I'm telling you, we need Jessica. She would have gotten it. Now it says that she signed into Planet Fitness at 6:41 p.m. and then she was seen later on walking in a parking lot. Yeah, okay, so just still the clothing ID. The family had a hard time reaching her, so the husband called it in. CVS reported sighting. There was a CVS reported sighting, but that was found to be false. The last sighting was actually near Planet Fitness later on that evening. And they said that she may be a vulnerable person. So the last sighting was near that Planet Fitness. She signed into 6:41. She was seen later that evening, like late in the evening. She was seen walking towards a wooded area behind Lowe's. She had her cell phone at the time of her disappearance, but the phone quit pinging as of Monday. The husband found the vehicle in Lowe's parking lot. And this was something that Ashleigh Banfield said was kind of confusing too. Was that the husband had been in possession of the vehicle. So I don't know if it was when they found the vehicle from then on, but they stated that he is not a person of interest. A week before she went missing, a Ring doorbell camera, though, caught her on video taking possession of someone's DoorDash order and delivering it herself, then trying to walk in the door of that apartment. Now, something that I noticed, and he's not related to her, but the last name of the gentleman whose door she was at was named Moore. And I'm going to tell you kind of my theory about this after I get done reading this, but I just found that kind of interesting that this man's name was Moore, the same as hers. Now, June 4th, this is when the DoorDash incident happened. Afterwards, she sits on the neighbor's porch for a while. This guy's wife went out about an hour later to let their dog out and noticed that Elena was sitting on their neighbor's porch, like sitting on the ground, going through all their packages. And she asked, "Do you know this neighbor?" And Elena said that she did not know him. So this lady asked her to leave his things alone and leave. She said, okay, and left. This apartment building was 0.6 miles from the Planet Fitness where she was last seen. It's called Overlook Golden Hills Apartments. And she lives about 6 miles away, which is about a 12-minute drive. So yeah, one of the questions, why is she obsessing over this area? Apparently she's well known around Lexington. She's worked at CVS. She's worked at a bar as a bartender at several bars. They found out that she moved here from Russia. She was adopted. She had recently checked herself out of Three Rivers, which is a mental health facility. Her husband, whose name is Brandon Slice, it's been said they were having trouble in their marriage. and that they were living separately. So that was one of the things I was wondering, is why did it take her family getting a hold of him to call in the police? But if they were living separately, that could have been, maybe he was the last person they called saying, listen, have you seen her? And he said no. And they called her, or, and he called her in missing. And where this body was found it was called Old Cherokee Road. She was found about 2:48. Now on June 11th, a tipster called in and said that they recognized her, that she was in their area on June 11th and was seen on Ring camera again. Now, whether or not that's the same couple or not, but we just don't know. See, I wouldn't put it past Three Rivers having something to do with it if she were going to speak out about something going on there. Possibly. I mean, I don't know. I don't know anything about Three Rivers. So, ouch. Now, we know that Ellie is only stating that it's an ongoing investigation. SLED is handling the case. That's South Carolina Law Enforcement Division. In June 11th, she was seen leaving Publix around 9:17, walking towards Old Cherokee Road. Hi, Canvas. Now, apparently, she and her husband were together for 13 years and married for 2. And they were living apart. So that was what I had gotten so far yesterday, taking my notes, but ouch. So now I've got the interview from the neighbors here queued up, because I thought it was just pretty interesting the way that they recount this.
House and rifling through packages, which is strange. So the homeowner
also seeing her, if you look at her face, and from what she was in her pictures and all, I mean, every picture she had, she was absolutely gorgeous. She looks disheveled. She looks stressed. She looks like red-faced and full of anxiety. I just noticed that she did not look the same. She looked very confused.
makes an inquiry like, what's up, right? And here's how she put it.
Well, when my lady come outside, she saw the lady still standing on the porch.
She was sitting in front of our neighbor's door, crisscross, and she had the neighbor's package.
Well, not necessarily even on something. I mean, if someone's in a mental state, they can very much look like that too and not be on anything. And that was something that I wondered if she was at Three Rivers, and it's been said that she checked herself out on her own accord. My dad was a therapist. He was an addiction therapist, and he also did general counseling. And that was one of the things that he talked about. I remember growing up is that a lot of his clients would come in to inpatient and they would start to feel better because they were on their meds. And then they would get out of treatment or out of inpatient, and they would go off of their meds, or maybe not have the tools to be able to go get their meds. And they slowly would go back into their illness. And it can really change the way that you look physically and mentally. And that's it too. Yeah, exactly. If she was off something, that's what I'm wondering.
She's on the phone, and I can't tell if she's looking up something or if somebody's on speakerphone, because I kind of hear something on the phone, but I don't hear any voices. And I'm staring at her, and I'm like, that's our DoorDash lady. So I go take my dog potty. I come upstairs, and I'm like, do you know my neighbor? And she's like, no. And I was like, well, what are you doing? Sitting there. And she was like, she's kind of like, she seems just like, honestly, I don't know what I'm doing. And I'm like, okay, well, can you please, leave his stuff alone? And she says, okay. And she gets up and walks down the hallway, or walks down.
Ring doorbell cam.
And I'm sorry, I just realized I played the second part. This is the first part that shows the actual video of her
at a Lexington apartment captured something that now just throws a big old wrench into the whole story and really makes this more mysterious than we assumed at first.
Thank you. You mind looking at your shoulder? Oh, yeah. You can take that off.
We haven't heard anything so far about illicit rugs or even maintenance rugs. And Three Rivers was a mental institution, like a mental clinic. So I'm wondering if possibly, if she was considered a vulnerable adult, if she possibly could have had something like schizophrenia or some kind of bipolar personality disorder. Those things a lot of times can create these kind of hallucinations, things like that. Not necessarily hallucinations, but confusion. Also, like new meds. Could she possibly have been put on new meds because she didn't like side effects? A lot of the side effects from these meds is weight gain, and she was a trainer. Something else that I looked up last night was pre-workout. It just popped into my head. I was thinking about, there was that bodybuilder a couple years ago that died from, they said it was like a combination of pre-workout and opioids. Pre-workout can cause psychedelic medication to not work properly. It can create anxiety. It can create high blood pressure. It can create heart palpitations, which could explain her flushness. And if she had gone to Planet Fitness earlier that night, maybe she took some pre-workout, worked out, it got through her system, and now this. I would like to know the times that she was seen. Did she work out before she was seen at these different locations? Because she's been seen there a couple of times. I don't know, just something I thought about.
I want to take a picture of the door. Thank you. Oh, shit. I just realized you had.
Yep. Thank you.
Just deliver it up.
Yep.
Then see, she almost walks in. She steps back. She looks at the apartment number and says, "Just the delivery for you," and then leaves.
So Mills Hayes is the national correspondent for News Nation. And
yeah, but there's a first time for everything. Maybe she took double the amount that time. Maybe we don't know. Were those gym pics from the weeks that led up to this or a week or so before? This could have been something new, and if those other gym pics and things were taken when she wasn't having a mental crisis, then she wouldn't look like that, in my opinion.
And she is a very, very good reporter, like really good. I love her. And she, wouldn't you know it, digs into this story, and she finds the couple that lives at that apartment. And they talked to Mills, and they said that Elena showed up at their door, and this is weird, an entire week before she vanishes. So they capture her on their doorbell cam on June 4th. Remember, June 11th is when she disappears. And on the doorbell cam, Elena is very confused and disoriented. At least that's how she appears. And this is what happens. A DoorDash driver comes to drop off food for this couple. And that's all normal. And there goes, right there at the front door. But then Elena comes in behind her and picks it up like the food belongs to her. And the DoorDash driver thinks, well, okay, probably the resident who lives here. So DoorDash driver doesn't think much of it. But then the homeowner kind of opens the door and sees this woman there holding his food and assumes that must be the DoorDash driver.
And the reason why we know what his last name is now is because Elena reads it out. So that seems odd to me. And I just wonder if that was one of the reasons why she was there.
It's not. DoorDash driver's already left. And so homeowner takes the food, turns to go back into his apartment, and Elena starts to follow the homeowner into the apartment, which is strange. Here's how it's described.
When the doorbell got rang twice, usually whenever we do DoorDash, we just do the leave on the doormat, no contact deliveries. But somebody rang the doorbell twice. So we got up and went to the door, and there sat Miss Moore, how you say her name?
Elena.
Elena. There's Elena with our DoorDash order reading the receipt. She seemed kind of out of breath.
Oh, sorry, Doug. I just saw your comment. She is a young woman. She's 39 years old, and she went missing about a little over a week ago. And they've been looking all over for her, and they started finding this camera footage and stuff. And apparently they found her, was it yesterday, or who they believe was her, on this old Cherokee Road. The thing is I want to find out about this picture I keep seeing. There's a picture online that is showing that there is like a drop right above where she was found. It's like a 12-foot drop, like a concrete retaining wall. And so Driver and I were talking last night, and we thought, okay, could she have fallen and broken her neck? Could she have fallen and broken like a femur and maybe gotten a blood vessel? It could, I mean, this could be not nefarious at all. It could be just a very sad situation where someone left the mental health facility without, on their own recognizances, without really thinking about it or having someone there to support them and say, no, I think it's best that you stay. And, we just don't know. According to the police, the husband is not a worry. I thought about that too, if she needed some cash, and maybe that's why she walked in, because she thought he was going to turn around and get some money for her. No, I don't think so. There's more to this, like people talking about, some of her behaviors. Yeah, the other woman was the real DoorDasher. She had like a purple shirt on, the dark hair. Oh, did she say? I didn't hear her say his name. I just heard Elena say it when I was watching. Yeah, no, I don't think it's an affair at all. No. Nope.
Whenever the DoorDash went off, or the Ring camera went off twice, he went to answer it, and I pulled up our Ring camera on my phone, so I was watching it while he was answering. And at first, all we saw was Miss Moore at the door as our DoorDash lady.
And we thought it was our DoorDash lady, Jessica.
Yes.
Which is the black lady who actually did set the food down in the very beginning of the video.
And then
So once I got the food from her, I turned around and walked back in the house, and she took one step forward like she was gonna walk in the house with me. And I turned around and looked at her, and she was like, "Oh, just a delivery?" I said, "Yeah." And she turned to go to walk down the stairs. We shut the door, and then my wife was still looking on the Ring camera footage, and we watched her walk back across the hallway and sit down on the steps of my neighbor's porch.
Okay, so the plot thickens and gets a bit more bizarre, if that's possible.
Yeah, so she goes, she doesn't leave. And then when the wife goes back out an hour later, let the dog out, she's still sitting there rifling through the neighbor's packages.
But an hour later, the homeowner says that she saw Elena again. After they closed their door and got their food, and the odd lady was on her way. An hour later, apparently the odd lady is back, and Elena is apparently this very strange person. They didn't know at the time that this is Elena. It's just a strange lady. Now the strange lady is at their neighbor's house and rifling through packages, which is strange. So the homeowner makes an inquiry, like, what's up, right? And here's how she put it.
Well, when my lady come outside, she saw the lady still standing on the porch.
he was sitting in front of our neighbor's door, crisscross, and she had the neighbor's package, but she's on the phone, and I can't tell if she's looking up something or if somebody's on speakerphone, because I kind of hear something on the phone, but I don't hear any voices. And I'm staring at her. I'm like, that's our DoorDash lady. So I go take my dog potty. I come upstairs, and I'm like, do you know my neighbor? And she's like, no. And I was like, well, what are you doing? Sitting there. And she was like, she's kind of like, she's like, honestly, I don't know what I'm doing. And I'm like, okay, well, can you please, leave his stuff alone? And she says, okay. And she gets up and walks down the hallway, or walks down the stairs.
Okay. Here's something else that's very, very strange in this entire.
So she seemed to be in a state of confusion. And that, again, someone who has allegedly gone off their psych meds all of a sudden. That happens a lot. Like I said, I don't know, but I have a feeling that that's what we're going to find out the more, if the family starts to speak more.
Entire story. The location of the apartment complex where this video was recorded and the weird package thing happened at the neighbors. This is the Overlook Golden Hills Apartments, and it's only about 0.6 of a mile from the Planet Fitness. That's where Elena was last seen on June 11th, right? Elena's home is not so close. It's like 6 miles away from the gym. So that's about a 12-minute drive. So odd things are happening around the Planet Fitness. And remember, Elena is actually a personal trainer, not necessarily.
And there's the Publix. This is the Lowe's. Here's Planet Fitness, and I'm not sure if it's this wooded area.
Necessarily at that Planet Fitness, but it's all kind of a puzzle with pieces that are scattered all over the place, trying to figure out where they all fit. But so she disappears. She's last seen at this Planet Fitness. The apartments where she shows up on camera a week before, taking a DoorDash off, order, that's only a little over a half mile away. She lives a 12-minute drive away, 6 miles away. So trying to figure out why Elena is spending odd time in the week that she's going to vanish, right? So Mills Hayes, this amazing reporter, also spoke with a few other people who know Elena, though they didn't want to be named. They want to.
Well, and they say odd times, but is this? Like, is that her normal Planet Fitness? Is that her? Because then it wouldn't really be that odd. But somehow she had to, for whatever reason, that apartment building had to spark her interest when she was having some kind of issue. Because she wasn't going there asking for help. She wasn't. But as Truth said, that's a very bad area. Would she possibly, allegedly, be self-medicating herself? And that's why she's hanging out in those areas. And that's why she's acting odd when she's in that area. Because she can't be at home or around her family when she's like that. So it just, it makes you wonder.
Anonymous in all of this. And they said that she was known around Lexington because she worked at the CVS and she was also a bartender at.
Okay, so there. So she worked normally at Wolf's, and she's in this area that's known for that kind of activity. Maybe that was the reason she was there. Maybe the excuse was to go to Planet Fitness.
A couple of different bars. And they also said that she moved to Lexington from Russia and that she was adopted by a family there. Strange description. Not sure of the ages involved here, but I'm going to talk to Mills in just a second. So there was one source that told Mills that Elena had just gotten out of a place called Three Rivers. And if you know Three Rivers, or if you're from South Carolina or the Lexington area, you will know that Three Rivers is a mental health facility. And so pieces are coming together a little more. Elena is apparently at this mental health facility before she went missing. She checked out. She was out for a while. Suddenly she's missing and all these strange things are happening. So then Mills also finds out from sources that Elena and her husband, Bryan Slice, had been together for more than 13 years, but just got married 2 years ago in 2024. And police say.
That was something that I wondered too. Why did they have two different last names? I mean, it's not my business. A lot of people do that, but maybe because of their professional careers, or I don't know.
That it was Brandon who reported her missing the day after she was last seen on June 11th. And they say that he is not a person of interest. Interesting. I have questions about that. It's awfully early to be ruling people out, right? Especially with all this weird stuff happening. So Mills is also told that Brandon, the husband, and Elena had apparently been having some trouble, some difficulties, relationship issues. So again, how is a husband ruled out so quickly? As we all know in true crime, it doesn't even matter. You just automatically have to look at the beginning, at the middle of the concentric circle, those who are closest to a missing or vulnerable person, and then you move out.
Well, it was a mental health facility. That's what they talked about.
From there. So a husband, you would
usually they're separate. I mean, they have mental health help available at rehab facilities, but when you have something really as deep as this, like where my dad worked, there was two sides. There was a mental hospital side and an inpatient side for people with addictions.
Think would
And the people that had very, very like, oh, how do you want the people that had more complicated mental issues, beyond just the normal, depression or anxiety, went to the other side and they dealt with the mental health because that was more important, because once you dealt with that, then the substance stuff was taken care of later on, or it went away because they had their meds and they weren't self-medicating. Here, you don't necessarily just have to be, you don't have to want to take your own life. You have to be a danger to yourself to go in involuntarily. But voluntarily, you can go in if you are, to a point of depression, or if you're having issues like, say, a schizophrenic person who's starting to see hallucinations and starting to be not necessarily wanting to take their own life, but afraid that they were going to hurt someone else, etc. A danger to themselves or other people.
not be ruled out so quickly, but I'll be interested to hear what the police have to say. And they held a press conference just a couple hours ago. I was watching it live. Very disappointed. Didn't have a lot of information, but I am recording this at 6:50 on June 17th. So the Lexington PD gets behind the mic, the police chief, and they say that because of a tip, very important, because of a tip from the public, they were able to search an area near Old Cherokee Road. They started that search around 1:30 this afternoon, and it was at about an hour and 15 minutes later, 2:48 p.m., that they found a body. Here's what's interesting about the tip. The tipster called the police and said, I think I recognize that lady. And she was seen in our area on June 11th. So now the searching begins. And here we are, June 17th, 6 days later.
And so, yeah. So what is she doing now back again in that area? I mean, I'd like to know, like, what kind of apartment complex was it? Could that have been? I mean, I lived in Flint, y'all. So every apartment complex in Flint pretty much was one where you went to go get stuff. That's where if you wanted to find the neighborhood junkie, that's where you went. I mean, so was she there? Was she self-medicating? Two things could be possible at the same time.
But, the media got the word out and people started realizing, wait a minute, that's not normal. And then they searched that area. Is it the same tipster as the neighbors who had her on the Ring doorbell cam? I do not know that. Possibly.
Around here, it matters what kind of insurance you have. Sadly, that's what matters around here. Whether or not you get the help that you need or not.
Just note that the police chief said a tip was called in. Elena was seen on a doorbell camera on June 11th in their area, and they began searching. So the body they came across, apparently, they say fits Elena's description in the fact that this person is wearing the same clothing that Elena was described to have been wearing. But they, at this point, have to wait for the coroner to make an official identification. But they did say this. We have asked South Carolina Law Enforcement Division, which we often refer to as SLED, to investigate.
And I noticed in this picture, though, she doesn't see, and this is the thing too, we don't know about lighting, we don't know about any of that, so I'm trying not to jump to any conclusions yet, make any grand theories yet, because there's really not a lot that we know. And we're coming off of two cases where, we had someone kidnapped, we've got someone who allegedly fell in the water. So I don't want to put that in my head, because this really could just be a horrible, sad accident and a testimony to why we need to take mental health more seriously in this country, that we could avoid a lot. I believe, in my opinion, we could avoid a lot of crimes, a lot of assaults, a lot of people taking their own lives, things like that, if there were more funding for more programs and outreach for people who needed it, and maybe not such a stigma around asking for help about it.
This death investigation, and that this is an active investigation. So then a reporter asks, well, is there foul play, right, in this investigation? And the frustrating answer was, it's an active investigation. So the police wouldn't even say.
Yeah, and behavioral health is like someone like bipolar, schizophrenia, even some spectrum disorders, things like that.
whether it appears that Elena had met with some kind of, criminal activity. They wouldn't say if this looked like a suicide. They wouldn't say anything. They wouldn't even say where this body was found. And again, I can't say that it's Elena. It just appears. They held a news conference. They said the body is wearing the same clothing. But still, it just seems.
If she didn't have any outright obvious injuries, though, they may not know yet until that medical examiner gets in there and looks. And, if she's got a broken leg or a broken neck and no bruises anywhere else, chances it could definitely be from that fall and just accidental. If she was having like some kind of mental breakdown, was she seeing something? I was talking last night with Truth, like Elisa Lamb. That was shown that was what happened with her. She went off of her psychiatric meds, and slowly and slowly and slowly she got worse. She even physically, her physical appearance was even different, up into the point where she was chasing something through that hotel, playing that game. And they believe she chased something right into that water tank and fell in. She didn't even mean to, but then it was too deep for her to get back out and get up to the exit, because there weren't any ladders inside or anything like that. And I mean, I don't know, and this is going to be one of those things where we have to wait for the medical examiner to find out. And see, the thing is, tox results can take a while. But if there's an obvious accidental injury to her, then hopefully we'll know pretty quick. Or if it looks like foul play.
Seems to be a bit.
I mean, if she's shot, we know that, well, it would depend on, I guess, where it was at. But if she's shot in the back, then we know she probably didn't do that to herself, right?
Bit of a weird mystery. You have all these weird coincidences of strange behavior, and then a disappearance, and then a body found, and it's not necessarily suicide right away, but a death investigation, and in comes, the SLED investigators to
close the top and no clothes. What do you mean? She had clothes on. She had her workout clothes on. That's why they think. That's why why they're saying they believe that the body that they found is hers. She was just found laying there, as far as we know. But she had her workout clothes on, and that's why they said that this person, her clothes are matching this person. But you have to think too, it might be a little bit hard to identify her, because she's been missing for over a week and it's been hot. And she was in like yoga pants, a shirt, a jacket. So, Elisa Lamb. No, because now I watched a documentary about that. And what they said is that happens a lot of times to people in the water. And that, number one, she was so bloated when they found her that her clothes most likely ripped off of her. And the top wouldn't have been on because she had to open it to get in there. So, or it could have just been left off by a maintenance person even. But I watched a forensic show about it, and they showed how this all happened, and how it was very likely. And so now they put, I believe they put ladders inside of those tanks so that you can get up and out, and they've got it like completely locked down. That was the other thing. Someone left something unlocked and they weren't supposed to. And that was in one of the reports. But her family had spoke, and they talked about that she was schizophrenic. And that was one of the things that they were so worried about, her going to America to live by herself, because they believed that she wanted to be independent. She didn't want to be, held back, etc. And they were worried about her not taking her meds. And the owner of the Cecil, or not the owner, excuse me, the manager of the Cecil Hotel talks about the change in her and in the behavior. And she was originally staying in a room with 3 other women, but she became so like crazy and belligerent that they ended up giving her her own private room. And yeah, just is so sad. But she quit taking her meds and she slowly, descended back into her illness. And now there's two theories about that. People that believe in the paranormal and believe that something lured her out. I believe that that could be true too. Because she would have been vulnerable if she was off of her meds, right? Oh, no, this is definitely because it's something that's a story that I followed. I've followed for a very long time, and it's really interesting to me.
To look into this. That only meant that I needed to call Mills Hayes because, as a great reporter, she's been digging in and she's been talking to sources and friends of this missing woman. And so I had an opportunity to speak with Mills. Here's our conversation. Mills, it's great to have you. Thank you for joining.
And I'm not going to watch this. She basically just went. She basically just repeated everything that Ashleigh repeated in the beginning of this interview. Oh, it is. Well, and it's got so much negative energy around it. Richard Ramirez lived there for a while. In fact, that was where I believe he kidnapped a little girl, assaulted her, scared the daylights out of her, and then let her go. She survived and she testified. And I cannot remember which I think that was it was on either Discovery Plus or Netflix. There was a really good documentary that they interviewed all of the police officers that were on that case that caught Richard Ramirez, etc. But not only did he live there, but there was I cannot remember his name. He was a German serial killer. Is it Netflix? Okay. Well, there's two of them though, because there's also one that goes through the history of the Cecil and it talks about all of the deaths there. And it talks to the manager at the time and how they had changed it after Elisa Lam and they made it into two properties. Or maybe it was right before. I think that was right before. And so they had it's like the second and the third floor that they let people that actually live there stay. And then they tried to call it something on Maine? And trying to get like the young travelers and stuff like that and business people to come in there and stay. And I don't know that it's even running now. I can't remember who. Someone investigated it just last year, and I can't remember if it was the Paranormal Files or if it was Project Fear or if it was what's his name? Elton Castee and Matt Rife have that one show that they do. The guys that own Ed and Lorraine's old house. Ouch. I can't remember the name of their show. Darn it. Because they had the two channels. They had the one that did just regular paranormal stuff in the United States, and then they had the other one where they were trying to do a city from every letter of the alphabet around the world, like in a year. And so they did like some foreign countries, things like that. Oh, that's gonna bug me now. Can't remember the name of it. But yeah, I just wonder, there's just something in my gut, and my gut is usually not wrong, that And her family's not really speaking out about, and I don't think it's because anything happened. Like, I don't think it's like a Savannah Guthrie kind of a thing. I think it's more of like, if this is mental illness, maybe they were embarrassed. Maybe they're trying to not speak because they want her to have a last little bit of dignity. Maybe this was something that they wrestled with her throughout her life a lot. And, I have a son that has a mental disorder, a processing disorder. That's what mental illness is. It's your brain not processing the world around you the way it's supposed to. And so I thought about that. And if she did have something that they had to deal with for a very long time, it usually comes out like in your mid-20s. A lot of times college age kids are the ones that go away to college and something bad happens, and that's when it's figured out. Um she was older than that, but just could that have been something? Maybe this was something that their family was unfortunately waiting to hear. Like, it was their worst nightmare, but they always kind of thought that any day they could get that call. I haven't heard anything. I'm just going to do these strokes real quick and then I'll put it on because I do want to hear this. Bryan Enton went over this too. And I just saw his as I was coming on here. I haven't gotten a chance to watch it. But his title was something about she was in danger. So, like I said, I want to hear everything before I really dive into a decision. But I'm just wondering. Truth and I had a talk last night about this. And one of the things like that she had said was, could her husband have made her check out early? And again, people don't always respect mental illness and they think of it as, oh, big deal. Oh, you're having a breakdown. Oh, isn't it nice that you get to just not deal with life? Oh, I'm just putting little, is my hand showing? Just doing blue and green little, I don't know what they're called, little whiffs and then little dots on them. So not as many colors, but I have a cool shirt I want to wear tomorrow. I wish. I don't know if you can see it better. And I just did the little white dots. But my paint is getting a little bit dry. I think, did I do it in the right order? Yeah, I did it in the right order. Okay. But was that the case? Did she maybe feel like she needed to be in there? And he didn't because he was controlling and thought, oh, come on, toughen up. I've heard that a lot. People say that a lot to my son. Go, just toughen up. Wouldn't it be nice if that's all it took to win over mental illness? But anyone that's dealt with somebody that's has a mental disorder knows that that's not how it works. I mean, if it was, then we wouldn't need psychiatric hospitals. We wouldn't need antidepressants. We wouldn't need. Now, do I think we all need all that stuff? No, probably not. But there are people that, just like some people need heart medication, there are people that need mental health medication. That could be it too. Yeah. Or he thought she should be and she's not there. And maybe her getting out early and going off on whatever this binge or not taking her meds or whatever, allegedly, maybe I don't know. Maybe this is why they weren't living together. Maybe this was the catalyst that, and it could have been, was it control, or was she really? I mean, they're not going to keep you unless you have a mental illness. You don't get to just go in there because you're having a bad day. So to be an inpatient in something, you do have to have something that is charted, that is, um oh, I think so too. And that's just it. If she's got some, if she's got, said, if she was shot in the back, in her back, then obviously she didn't do that to herself, right? Um, and if she was running from somebody, if they saw her all of these different places with all of these cameras, then they're going to see somebody running after her. Um, and if she's back, if those people say, okay, they saw her back, and we don't know if it was their Ring camera or if it was, we don't know whose Ring camera that was. When they said we saw her back in our area, we don't know. Could it have been the neighbor whose mail she was going through? Or could it have been a completely different place? So that's going to be interesting too, is to see where that footage on the 11th was, where she was. There's something, though, that, like, could she have come in contact with this Moore guy somewhere? Somewhere where she would have seen his last name. Even if it was on, say, Facebook or something. Suggested friend, because they're both have the last name or something, living in the same area. Facebook does weird stuff like that. They don't know. Not the first one of her with the DoorDash, but it's the tipster that said that they saw her in that area again. So we don't know if was it from a camera. Was it, that was what Ashleigh said. She wasn't. They didn't know. Was it them? We don't know. So did she go back? That's what I'm saying. Did she go back there, or was this from someone else around that area? Because they said that they saw her in the area of that Cherokee. I can't pick, my nails are wet and I can't pick up my notes, but that Cherokee Road. And so we would have to figure out where that apartment building is, in relation to that road where she was found. I hadn't heard that she had been found by a school, though. Someone said that earlier. I'd heard that that was out behind Lowe's, where she was seen running in this area, was behind Lowe's, and that this road, like, I don't know, butted up to it or came across the property in the back. I couldn't tell from that map, and they didn't mark where she was found. They haven't said from what I have seen, they haven't said exactly where she was found yet. Like the exact location. And yeah. See, so I'm not sure. So let me get Ashleigh down. Let me get this popped up. Where are you? Okay.
My show. Really, really appreciate you guys. Thank you so much for supporting my channel. Thank you to everybody who has subscribed. I know that a lot of us have been really, really troubled by the Elena Moore situation. And I am going to talk to one of her closest friends here in a few minutes, and you're going to hear everything she has to say and all of her.
Well, there was the one where the DoorDash was a week before she went missing. And then the other footage was from the day she went missing.
Insight into what she says was going on in Elena's life before all of this happened, before she disappeared, and now it seems like her body was discovered. There's a ton of new information to share that she's going to share with us in a minute. First, let me kind of get you up to speed a little bit on some of the new developments. The 39-year-old personal trainer in Lexington, South Carolina, she vanished. We were covering the story when she vanished. There was a search happening for her, and then a body was found with clothing matching the description of Elena's body. Now, the body found was in a wooded area. We're waiting for more information about a verified identity and a cause of death. Lexington police, they've now called in the South Carolina Law Enforcement Division. It goes by SLED. So SLED has been called in to investigate, but right now, no official cause of death. We're not hearing much about anything like that. An autopsy, I'm sure all that's going to be happening behind the scenes, but no new information on that front. SLED did release a new statement that says SLED was requested by the Lexington Police Department and the Lexington County Sheriff's Department to conduct a death investigation after a deceased individual was found this afternoon during.
Funny enough, SLED is who worked on the Alex Murdaugh trial too.
A search for a missing woman. Any information concerning the identity of the individual will be released by the coroner. Additional information from SLED may be available at a later time as the investigation continues. So that's really the latest officially. So we're left with very little official information about what happened. Elena was spotted on surveillance video at Planet Fitness. You can see her at the desk there, at the front desk. She worked out there, I'm told, for more than 2 hours. Then she was also spotted on surveillance video outside Publix. She was kind of walking all over this area. It's kind of a close area together. But then the question is, what happened next? What happened after she was not in the Publix parking lot anymore? And how did she end up in that? It seems to be a wooded area. I want you to hear my conversation with Sandra Campbell. This is a close friend of Elena's. Sandra, I'm so sorry.
Yeah, so like that wooded area. And that's from the picture that I saw. It looked like a pretty heavily, it looked to me, the picture that I saw, you could see the outline of where she was laying. And it looked very close to this wall, like she had almost, and it's about a 12-foot drop, like she had almost fallen.
Sorry for what happened to your friend. It's just such a terrible situation. If you don't mind, just tell me first about the last time you saw Elena and kind of what stands out to you.
We went to brunch May the 31st. A couple girls, a couple of her clients were there, friends I had known before. We all met up. Elena's like, loves a new place, loves to, kind of host something and get people together and like, people that's entrepreneurs, people like herself. So she invited me out, and when she showed up, she just looked really nervous. She wasn't calm. She was kind of looking around. She kind of got up once and walked to the door and was like looking out the door. She wasn't fidgety or anything. I have like a video from that day. I just kind of went around the table, and she was fine,
So she's paranoid about something. Is it something real though? Or is it something that she's thinking that she believes is real?
As far as, well, she was in her right mind and everything like that. We all had brunch. We laughed. We talked. She was across the table from me. I had to go pick my son up. I hugged her bye. She hugged me, and she hugged me really tight. It was like, we've got to catch up one-on-one. There was still like about 4 or 5 girls there. She was like, I can't talk right now. But it's I'm scared for my life. It's a crazy shit right now. She said those words. And I said, what are you talking about? What? And she's like, you don't even know. She's like, it's too much right now in front of these people. We've got to, me and you one-on-one.
So, okay. So she's, again, she won't say why. She's saying it's crazy shit. And, just, still, it could be one or the other. This could be somebody who's really has a reason to fear someone, but this also could be someone who has a mental disorder and believes that people are after her.
But I'm afraid for my life type shit. She's like, I'm with Jersey. That was another one of her friends. I guess that made me feel a little bit more comfortable that, I figured that she was hanging out with her a lot, maybe staying with her. I know Jersey lived close to them. And so I, sorry about that. that was it. She didn't, as far as people saying the mental health things that bothers me, the negative stuff about her that I'm seeing, nobody knows behind closed doors kind of what went on with her and him, but I've witnessed telephone calls of how he talked to her and treated her, how we missed a concert one night because of her not wanting to be around him because of the way he was treating her. Those tickets were expensive, but we had a better night. We went out ourselves to eat dinner and had a great time. The video, the DoorDash, to me, when I look at that, it is very sad. Elena's clients can tell you that's not what she looks like in the gym.
And no, we saw pictures of her. She's, her hair's done. She's looking good. But now listen, she was away from him. So, could he have been a narcissist and a jerk? Yeah. But a lot of times those men take broken women or women that have issues or that aren't as strong because they can get away with a lot more of their BS.
When she's even working out and hot and getting her, fit on, she doesn't look like that. She was panting. She was breathing very heavily. She looked to me like maybe she was disoriented a little bit. I believe this is the day that I was told she went into the hospital, that police took her there, and when it all began with the Three Rivers mental facility.
Okay, so there we go. That was the day she went in. So if she got out, she was only in there for a few days. So police took her in there because they noticed that something was going on with her.
She went into a mental facility?
Yes. I don't know how that happened. She went from the hospital straight to the Three Rivers. It obviously was her self doing it. Like they could.
And again, like I said, one of the side effects can be with pre-workout. It can be labored breathing, anxiety. It can be racing pulse. So was this just something that maybe her mental health issues weren't that bad, but being a personal trainer, you think that stuff is safe, right? So maybe she took it and didn't realize because it was confusing her.
Keep her there because she left on her own. I'm not really familiar with that whole story. I don't know why it's not being talked about more. I don't know if she has a mental health diagnosis besides anxiety. That's what she has told me before in the past. And she's had to, we've dealt with that. I've dealt with anxiety.
And that
too,
was
so
one of
we've
the
dealt with
major
that kind of together.
meds that pre-workout affected, by the way.
She's so uplifting and so positive, and there is no way, I don't know who did this. The Duke's investigator really saddened me on why when he said that no one in the family had any worries of anything happening in the marriage. No friends or family he's spoken to. What friends or family? I don't even know if her family's been contacted. I know they're reached out to. I don't know if they're here yet. His family? Who hired you? His family? Him?
Well, but that was part of the story that I heard in the beginning, though, was that friends and family could not contact her. And that was unlike her. So they got a hold of the husband who called on the 12th. And the only reason I can think of that they would immediately rule him out would possibly be if he had like some kind of ironclad alibi. Or if they do think he did something and they're just, kind of like Bryan Hooker, just let her, keep talking, keep doing what you got to do,
He didn't talk to me about anything. He didn't ask me if there was problems in the marriage. I said, I called him because it was worrisome. And I was like, you're on live television. He said, ma'am, he got upset with me because I was upset that he didn't talk to me. There was problems with that marriage. They were separating. I know Brandon told you that. So are you trying to say he didn't? Ma'am, this is for Lexington County to, have control over now. She's been deceased. She's been found deceased. I said, but you were saying these things while she was still alive.
Yeah. When you saw her last, was it May 31st? Is that right?
Well, how could the police have said anything while she was still alive? They don't know. That doesn't, I need to hear that again because I didn't understand that.
Because I was upset that he didn't talk to me. There was problems with that marriage. They were separating. I know Brandon told you that. So are you trying to say he didn't? Ma'am, this is for Lexington County to, have control over now. She's been deceased. She's been found deceased. I said, but you were saying these things while she was still alive.
Yeah.
Okay, so how could they have said anything while she was still alive? Because, oh, in truth, I'm not sure. I can't remember where I saw the picture. I didn't save it because it was kind of gross. I think it was on X probably that I saw it. I can't remember who posted. I'll have to find it later. If I find it, I'll send it to you. But and it came from someone that they had retweeted it, but it came from someone who said that they had gone and looked at that scene after they had no, it wasn't her. It was after they removed her. It was after they removed her. But you could tell someone had been there, laying there. And so that's what I don't understand. How could they have been talking about all of these things when she was still alive? Because it doesn't, if that was the last place she was seen heading towards that night, and that's where they ultimately found her deceased, I'm going to say she probably passed away that night, shortly after that, or was injured and incapacitated at least. Because what was left behind in that picture that she had already started decomposition. So how are they talking about her when she's still alive? I don't understand that.
And you saw her last, was it May 31st? Is that right?
That's correct.
Did she, because in that doorbell video, it's like she looks confused. Like, I was wondering, do you think she might have been having some kind of mental break or something? Like, some kind of.
I heard too, just like I'm saying, everything's flying around because we're not getting like answers it's like crickets from the police and investigators, which I know that takes some time, but she's dead. And I feel like that was concerning to me, very concerning the way she looked, but she looked scared. I know what my friend looks like when she's nervous and we're out and he calls her and he's like made her, there's no one that she talks to male wise at all. Like their neighbors, are Brandon's friends. Mostly the family don't really speak with Elena a lot, Brandon's family. It's really just Brandon and Elena, and he made sure that she always knew that all you have is me.
What is Elena like before all this? Like, she seems like a wonderful person.
She's so positive. She is so uplifting. Like her head is on her shoulders. Like she is.
This is the thing. I'm not saying that there isn't any foul play, but that's the thing that sucks about mental health, is that someone can seem very well adjusted, very all right one moment, and the next moment they're not okay anymore. And it can be a long drawn out process, or it can literally be an hour's worth of change. That's what's so heartbreaking about it, is that when you love somebody with a mental illness, you can see their potential. But if they won't stay on their meds, they won't, or they're unable, or they don't have they don't have the ability to stay on their meds, and you see them fall apart. It's very sad. And if she did have mental illnesses and she may not have, just because someone's your best friend doesn't always mean that you tell them everything. Mental health is also something that it's very taboo, and people are very embarrassed to talk about. And I would think someone who had the career and the life that she did probably would be very embarrassed to tell someone that this was going on with you.
I'm a little older than Elena.
Or did she even believe it herself? Because again, like I said, a lot of times people think they're okay, and they're not realizing it's because they're on not only just a med program, but a counseling program, a therapy program, etc. So now we know it wasn't her husband that put her in there, and it wasn't her that put her in there. It was the police that put her in there.
And she is someone I look up to. She had a, kind of hard childhood. She conquered so much on her own. And like I say, her clients would tell you the same. She worked hard. Most of her pictures, Brandon took. I think he was proud of her. too, her body, her, her career. But she did get a job at CVS to try to obtain insurance, to have, health insurance, because she started having some health issues with her heart. And so that was concerning for me when she was missing.
Okay. So again, anxiety, heart issues, those are things. And it's like I said, I don't know if it's what it is or not, but those were things that were literally listed when it talked about contraindications when taking pre-workout.
Talking about mental health, but why aren't we talking about her heart condition? We know that she has that. I know that she's been on a heart monitor. Brandon knows that. Like, did she have her medicine for that? Was she put on a medication from the facility? There's a lot of questions that's not answered. And
did the facility know about her heart issues? That's something else too. Did they do their due diligence and check and make sure that the meds were listed, that they knew what meds she was on? Did they just go by what she said? And would you necessarily, like, again, would you think of pre-workout as being something that you would tell your doctor about, or just think, oh, it's just like a supplement? I don't have to tell them, which, like, I remember my doctor telling me that, like, are you on any supplements? Are you on any herbal things? Because those, we need to count those as medicines and medications too, because they can counteract or, have issues with other medications that you're on.
I just feel like, is my friend's body just sitting there alone still? Like, I don't know why she left CVS. We never got to talk about that.
No, I didn't see it. I haven't seen a video.
I don't know if it was personal reasons, and those were it, because there was interference. She couldn't really do her job right when she was always stressed out and crying. There was a lot of that when she worked there. She tried to keep it together, inside, but like she would break down on breaks and stuff like that to me.
But that is someone that is not mentally strong. I'm not going to say stable. I'm going to say strong at that moment, because that's something that you that we do on a daily basis. We all learn to kind of compartmentalize things so that we can take care of our kids or go to work or do whatever. And it's kind of like my dad always told me, you can cry in the shower. That's when you do it. When you get in the shower in the morning or at night, if you're stressed out, let it out. But then before you get out of that shower, you wash your face and you get moving and you do what you got to do in the world, because the world doesn't care if you're having a bad day. And that wasn't that great of a lesson, because it taught me how to bottle stuff up. But if you're at the point where you can no longer use coping mechanisms to get through your day, you're falling apart at work, that's not someone who's strong or stable at that moment.
Their marriage was, I know that there's been problems for years, but there has been good times. So that makes me wonder too, what the heck is going on here? But like I say, my friend she's not a druggie or a drunk. Those things hurt me.
So there you go.
She's very classy, very sophisticated. So like, I'm sorry.
No, it's okay. It must be so hard.
And like, I'm trying to remember too, is that sometimes it is hard for people to accept that there isn't any how do I say it? That, like, there's not any, there's no reason that makes sense that something happened. And you think, oh, she would have told me. But if she didn't know, let's say she was having delusions and hallucinations because of whatever, and she thought somebody was following her, she thought her life was in danger, etc. Would she necessarily tell everyone? Because number one, there's stuff that I've had happen to me that I haven't told anyone, because I think, oh my God, they're going to think I'm crazy if I try to say this. So could it have been something like that?
I can't believe someone could hurt her, but she's also strong, and she could probably kick somebody's butt that tried to come after her if it was a stranger. Elena exercised a lot. She didn't go walking at nighttime alone. She's very aware of her surroundings. That's one thing I'll say too.
That's basically what Driver and I kind of concluded last night, is I think she was having some kind of episode, and she was walking or running towards something or running away from something that she thought was either chasing her or something that she needed to chase, and in the dark didn't see that there was this 12-foot drop, and fell and landed right there, and either was gone instantly, or maybe she got a head injury and laid there and succumbed to that. Driver brought up a good point. Did she break her femur and lay there? And because there's all those arteries, there's that femoral artery right there. That's the biggest worry with a femur break, is that that artery is going to get, cut by the end of that bone. It could have just been something as simple as that.
She's she's observing, and she's not going to take any crap. She's going to tell you the truth, and that's her. She's a go-getter. She's gonna make you get it too. And if you're ever having a bad day, she's gonna tell you you're worthy. She's that person. She's uplifting, and she's got me through some really tough times.
And this what was it? 9:40 something. There would still be people if this is like a busy area. It's kind of what it sounds like. You've got Publix, you've got Planet Fitness, people are there all. You would think that someone would, if she was running from someone, number one, like I said, it'd be spotted on camera. Number two, that she would scream or something. Maybe somebody would have heard something and come back later and said, "Oh my gosh, I thought it was a cat. I thought it was this,"
My son was sick and stuff, and just good morning, beautiful. I'm listening to some of her voice messages she just sent me out of the blue. Elena had loved her life.
So she was always there for you.
What was that?
She was always there for you, it sounds like.
Always there for me. There's no way I can't advocate for this person. And it's just the questions, and then the lies, and then I don't know what to believe is true or not. But like I say, I gotta take up for her, and I've gotta present the positive things and who she was.
So they're saying another person went to the scene. And saw a puddle of blood on the grass too. Someone else said it looked like 2 spots of blood on the concrete above where she was found, that 12-foot drop. Yeah, see, I haven't heard anything about that. I just saw the retaining wall, and then you could tell where she was at below.
Because that's facts. These are facts of who she was as a person. And, even on the hard days, she worked out. And why would she go to Planet Fitness to tan or do red light therapy or to work out to go and unalive herself? Big question to me. It doesn't make sense. And why was drones put out, but yet you weren't on your feet looking for my friend right when she was reported missing, since it had already been a long time, but like the day before when she...
I would also wonder if, and this will maybe come out with the family or maybe it won't, but was there a history of these things happening? You're not going to tell your friend that you have a history of kind of losing it sometimes and maybe taking off and people can't find you. That happens a lot. My stepmother's best friend, or her best friend's brother, he lived near me, and they used to tell me, please look out for him, because he would go on these bouts where he would be off of his meds and he would wander around and get lost and be gone for days, and then be picked up somewhere, be put in a mental health facility for a couple days, get back on his meds, and he'd be fine for a little while. And his friends didn't know that, but his family did.
Really was missing.
So let me just go back for a second to when you last saw her, May 31st. Was there, I know you said, she said to you about being upset at the end of you hanging out, but did you think she seemed confused at all or anything like in the doorbell video?
No, I haven't heard. I try to only take whatever I see from like news sources just because you just never know who's putting out what. But no, I hadn't heard about a Ring camera at 4 a.m. That wasn't in any of the timelines that I had seen, but it might, that could come out.
Nope, she was definitely in her right mind, and no, the other girls at the luncheon could tell you she's, like I said, she holds herself very well. The only thing at the beginning, before we all like got really situated, she was looking around and kind of looking out the door a little bit. She went to the door and looked out, and I didn't ever see her phone. And like I saw her 2 fingernails broke, and I just was like, She kind of moved differently. So at the end, when I hugged her, I was like, "Are you good?" She's like, "We got to catch up." She's like, "It's bad," and I was like, "What?" She's like scared for my life.
If you find it again, send it to me. I'd like to read that. Yeah, because I hadn't heard that one yet.
Type shit.
How are you doing right now?
I'm not good. I'm sick. Like, I'm sick. She loved her life. She wanted more. She just wasn't going to stop until she got more, She wanted to keep going. She wanted to be bigger. She wasn't going to stop. Like, she did it, like, every day, I don't know, like I say, what's inside the house every day. Nobody knows behind closed doors, but what I seen. And she posted a lot. And when she stopped posting, that was worrisome to me because I felt like there he is in control again of her telephone and her posting. Done that.
Or was she getting depressed and not feeling like they're posting? Again, something like being manic depressive. I have had many friends that were like that. And when they were good, they were awesome. Life was great. They were going to do this. They had a new business. They were going to do that, blah, blah, blah. But when things were bad, they were down. They didn't do their nails. They didn't do their hair. They didn't do their makeup. And we never found out that they had those moments until they were back in the good, or until it got so bad to where they had to be put in a hospital for a month or so, It's just really hard to know.
Before.
Have you talked to her family at all?
No. Nobody but the girl, Meredith, that she was raised with, that she grew up with. She kind of moved out of her home when she was younger, like a young teen, into the home with her and her family. First, like to feel more safe. I don't think a lot of things was going good where she was, staying with her siblings in the household she was in. I think she wanted to, maybe more freedom or, whatever it was that she did, she moved in with them and lived with them till early college years. And then I think that's when she came to South Carolina. She had previously dated a guy before Brandon, but Brandon's really all I know of her dating besides just hearing about the first boyfriend.
Yeah. Well,
and that would be about the age when some of these mental illnesses rear their heads. And so was he controlling because he was a narcissist? Or was he controlling because he felt like he had to be because he was worried for her? And the reason why they split was because he couldn't do it anymore? I mean, I'm just going back and forth devil's advocate, and there's just so many possibilities right now.
I'm sorry for everything you're going through. It's just terrible.
It's like a nightmare, and you wake up and you're like seeing it again, and it's like, but it's not fair for her to.
Well, and sometimes it's just. See, I don't post when I'm upset about something. I don't do that. I don't, because I always feel like it's nobody's business. So if I'm going through something, you're never going to know according to social media or anything like that. You're just, that's always just how I've been.
I just can't believe it. And I'm not going to not tell the truth of what come out of our conversations and what I witnessed and what I heard on phones and what she told me with her own mouth. I missed a call on June the 4th, and then I've never got in touch with her again.
She called the 4th?
She called and she didn't leave a message.
That was the day that she was first at the DoorDash day.
Like I say, sometimes she would voice memo me, and I didn't think nothing about it. And I called, and like her phone would just ring and stuff. So I was just thinking we were phone tagging, and then I see she's missing. Like nothing is said about any of that hospital stuff until he reports her missing.
I really, really appreciate Sandra for taking the time to talk with me.
But maybe he didn't know about the hospital stuff. Why didn't the person that she was staying with tell this friend, if they were such good friends, about the hospital stuff? You know? And that's just it. It's too bad that she didn't answer, because she might have caught her in the middle of some kind of like hallucination. And she may have, and I can't imagine this is not something that you ever want to believe about somebody. And you don't want to believe that it was something that if you had just paid attention, you could have maybe stopped. And if she wasn't with her husband anymore, she was staying with this friend, why didn't the friend say something about her going into this mental institution? And if the friend didn't know that she had been put into a mental institution by the police, like say she couldn't call or whatever, why wouldn't she call around to friends and say, hey, have you seen her? Because if this is not like her, maybe this friend didn't really know her as well as she thought she did. And maybe that's part of this sadness too. Because it is sad that, and if she checked herself out, it sounds like here, it's usually a 72-hour hold. They have to make sure so they get you on your meds, you're stable, you're not a danger to yourself, and you leave. If you don't go and get that script filled, or you don't take them, because like I said, there's so many side effects with those medications. And if she was doing something like, say, adding supplements or pre-workouts to it, maybe she was taking her meds, and because of something else she was taking, because of the training, the fitness training, it was screwing with her meds. That's something that happens a lot. And I don't think people really realize when someone has severe bipolar disorder, that it's not just always people being either sad or happy, that there are people who have extreme symptoms with that. And it can be confusion, and it can be like mania. And then the Publix was what, like 9:15 or something like that. And then I can't reach my notebook now. But yeah, there's just, I don't know. Unless there's something groundbreaking about this husband. I mean, he might have just been a jerk. But there could have been a lot, like she said, I don't know what went on at home, just what she told me. If she was embarrassed or maybe she didn't realize, she wouldn't have told her possibly. And so maybe she didn't really know what was going on. And that was her way of masking it, as saying, I've got this controlling husband and blah, blah, blah. And what he was doing was maybe trying to take care of her. I know with the one friend that I had, that's why most of her relationships haven't worked out, is because sadly she is mentally ill. And when people don't want to deal with it, or they get tired of trying to fix it, or having to go through all of the highs and lows. And it's hard when you see somebody like, and I'm not saying that this is her, I don't know, but people that won't stay on their meds. One of the cases that I did a podcast on, it was from here, and it was a man who was a brilliant chemist, brilliant, but he also was bipolar, and he had it's a schizophrenic disorder. Because I know everything is like, has divisions now. And he just, was it last year, the year before, was finally convicted for murder. He had spent a few years, he actually went in and out of being able to go to trial because of his mental condition. And there was an interview with his wife, his ex-wife, and she had talked about that they were married for about 10 years and that she finally just could not deal with cleaning up after him when he would decide he wasn't going to be on his meds. And it was the same thing. He didn't like the side effects. He didn't feel like it. He felt like it numbed his thinking. And they do numb you. And so he would quit taking them. And then he would get volatile. And then he would go on them again and things would be good for a while. And she finally said she had to leave. It wasn't because she didn't love him. It was because her children were living through this and that she just couldn't do it anymore. She was tired. She was just so tired. And he ended up moving on and marrying a man. And when this man was then interviewed, he said very much the same thing. And they had just recently separated because he had gone off his meds again. He had been put into a 72-hour hold, had come out and refused to take his meds again. And his husband said, I'm done. I can't do this anymore. And it was when he was gone, this guy didn't hurt himself. He hurt other people. He went on Grindr and he was luring people to his house. And one of them got away and made a police report, but the police were uncomfortable because it was two men that they were doing this report on. They put it down as a lover's quarrel. This man literally ran out. He was a businessman, apparently from New York, that had been traveling through. And they had made this date, and he was married, and he didn't want anyone to know. And so there was a police report about it, but it got tucked away, and nothing ever happened. Until, unfortunately, on Christmas Eve, he met Kevin Bacon. And not the actor Kevin Bacon, but a young man from our area. And I believe he was a hairdresser. Yeah, he was a hairdresser. And Christmas Day, he didn't show up to his family's house. And they, through electronic transmissions, found out the last person he had talked to. And it was this man. They went to his house and they found Kevin in his basement. And he had actually cannibalized him. That's what it sounds like. Yeah. Her car was in the Lowe's parking lot. Husband isn't speaking. Where did you hear that one? Husband isn't speaking with he's former Ellie and now a PI. And that could again be for two reasons. Is he guilty? Or as a law enforcement officer, he knows to be quiet until everything is taken care of so that he isn't, because this friend now is speaking out, pointing the finger at him. I mean, that press conference was very vague. I think they just don't. They either don't have they don't know anything yet, or there's nothing that they can put out publicly, either for her own privacy and dignity, or because they really are looking at the husband. Yeah, it was a horrible story. But now, like I said, if she was off of her meds, it doesn't necessarily mean that this is an accident. Her being off of her meds could have made her vulnerable to somebody hurting her. But if friends are starting to point the finger at him because of things that she said, and he's former Ellie, maybe a friend said, just be quiet and let the medical examiners and the police take care of this. You've given them everything that you need to give them. There's no more you can give them. Tell them to speak to your lawyer from now. Does he have a lawyer, or has he just said, I've given you everything I have, I'm done? Maybe he's angry that this happened, angry at her. I still wonder why, if she was put in a psychiatric hospital, why the friend she stayed with wouldn't have said something. Unless she didn't want anyone to know. Maybe that was the one friend that did know this stuff. So that confuses me. And the first statements that I heard were that friends and family could not get a hold of her. And that was that was not like her. And so they called the husband. And when the husband hadn't seen her, that's when he called her in missing. So it was the next day. And I would think something odd about that if they lived together. But if they didn't live together, if they were estranged and maybe not talking, I don't know. And maybe he feels guilty. Could be guilt because he did something. It could be guilt because he didn't stop this from happening. I just feel like when you add that, because I didn't know that before I listened to that that the police were the ones that put her in that mental health facility that day that she was seen on the ring cam, the DoorDash day. So for them to do that, something is absolutely noticeably wrong with her, to where they didn't believe that she was safe. Either she was a danger to herself or someone else. And being a danger to yourself, again, does not necessarily mean you're going to take your own life. It could mean that you're not aware enough to keep yourself safe. And so they take her in there. And after the 72 hours, if she did have an issue, she could decide to stay on for treatment or leave against advice. And it sounds like she left against advice. She signed out because she had the right to leave after 72 hours. She did not put herself in there. And then she would have what? Where did she go after that? Did she go back to this friend's house that she was living at? And if her life was so successful, then why was she staying at a friend's house? Most people, especially people that don't have children, you have money to be able to go and get yourself your own apartment. I mean, most of the women that I know that have separated from their husbands, they might stay on, in somebody's couch or whatever for a week, maybe 2 weeks, but usually it's not like a get out of the house now kind of a thing, not for the woman. And they have to go find some place, or they find a place pretty quickly or whatever. So that's what I'm saying. Yeah, if they believed that she wasn't safe, either because she was acting odd and off and they didn't think that she could keep herself safe because she was not acting right, she wasn't in her right mind, or because, they thought she would hurt herself or someone else. They actually can't legally leave someone on the street like that because they could be held liable if they do hurt someone or hurt themselves. So, yeah, it's going to be interesting to hear what the it's going to be interesting to hear what the autopsy shows. There's a toxicology report. And yeah, I don't know. It's just, the whole thing's sad. It's just sad all around, no matter what happened. But, yeah, and like, Doug had said earlier, if Sled's involved, that's basically like the FBI of the state. So they're going to have some of the best resources, the best detectives, everything. And that was something that I noticed too. Instantly, the local police said, Lexington police said, here, take this investigation. So, because I think they want to make sure that this is done right, no matter what it is. And that's also probably a very, very good thing, because him being previous, if he is previous LE, then there's no conflict of interest between local PD, whatever, right? SLED's going to be unbiased. They're going to go in, do what they've got to do. They don't care if an officer's involved or not. So, yeah, I don't know. I am just hopeful that they find an answer pretty quick for her. Why is... Oh, I know. I couldn't figure out why why I was showing vertical and horizontal. It's because I'm horizontal on Rumble and I'm vertical on YouTube, I think. And that's just it. The family will get the answers. And they may have, just because they're not talking right now, it doesn't mean they don't have anything to say. But this is really fresh. And this is gotta be just heartbreaking for them, whether or not they knew that she was having mental issues or not. And, the friend was saying, she doesn't have drug history. She doesn't have anything like that. She doesn't do any of that stuff. So I really do think that this is something. My heart of hearts says that it probably was an accident. And that there's going to be really good explanations for some of this stuff. So, excuse me. On that note, I meant to only have this be like a little 1 hour spiel, but that never happens, does it? Ever, ever, ever. So, and this is our nail of the day. I don't know if you can see that. It's just kind of, like I said, like a take on those little stripes that we did, the little flares. I did like a navy blue on the bottom. You always start with your darkest color on the bottom. I did a green on top, and then I just did the little dots. So just something kind of summery and cutesy. We will disengage the claw clam. The claw clam. Yuck. The claw cam. And that's just it. It could have just been walking along. This could have been just absolutely... I mean, maybe she was absolutely fine that night and just went for a walk to think about something. Yeah, and just completely stepped right off of that retaining wall. Because, yeah, there was all those rocks at the bottom. That's kind of what my head is thinking. When I like I said, I only saw the one picture. I didn't see the stuff that you were talking about, but I saw the one picture. And that's exactly what it looked like. It looked like she kind of was curled up and she was right next to that wall. Very similar to that young man. Oh, it was a couple years ago. He was that college student that was walking home after drinking, and he fell over the seawall, and they looked for him for weeks, and finally somebody just happened to look right over the edge, and he was right there, and they figured out between cameras and witness testimony that he just flipped. Oh, he was drunk and flipped over and fell right there, probably hit his head, knocked it out, and just sunk right to the bottom. It was quick, it was over. And here they had all these stories about, oh, he was kidnapped, he was this, he was that, and it was just a dumb accident. One of those things where it's like, Yo, you ever seen that meme? Like, this is totally me. I'm probably like how I die is probably going to be I'm going to be walking across the house with a spoonful of frosting in my mouth and trip over someone's shoe. And that's how I die. Or I'm going to choke on a gummy bear. That's how I'm going to probably die, you know? I mean, oi. But so it's been an interesting night. I will play it one more time before we leave just because it's funny. Just for anybody that's coming in. Where are you, Ted? Let's put him up there for one last hurrah.
Guy away, right? But when you're throwing a punch, you keep they're taping your gloves. You keep your hands open first. Everybody thinks you close firm fist and throw a punch. If you throw a punch, do it right now with me, guys. Throw a punch. You're slower. You're slower with a boxing glove on. You keep your hands open. So then when I throw a punch, I'm throwing the punch, and then right when I get to your face, I'm tightening my fist. That way I can go like this. I can snap it out quicker, right? Snap it out quicker.
Are you guys listening?
So I have my hand open, and then I shut it last minute. Okay. I'll stop all this. And then, it's all about wingspan. How far is his reach? My distance from his, usually you spar the person beforehand. I mean, that's what most boxers do. I want to know what's his best punch. Does he uppercut? Does he go up and down? A lot of boxers, like I said, bounce. They go up and down. They go up and down. So then as soon as they go up and down, boom, a combo. So a lot of boxers do that and they don't even realize they're doing it. They're bouncing up and down. They're bouncing up and down because they're jumping up and down because they're trying to keep your feet light, right? You're trying to keep your feet light. So these are just basic boxing things. Guard your shoulder, roll your punches, roll your chin. When you know you're going to get hit, don't keep your chin still or your head's done. Roll. I'm telling you, if someone hits you, for your own safety reasons, if someone swings, just move your head a little bit. And then it will keep your brain from rattling because your brain's only like a half millimeter from hitting your skull. And that's what knocks you out, right? So you roll it and it absorbs any hit. I've been hit by big people. I roll my neck and you roll your neck and you're in pretty good shape. So anyways, I'll stop talking about this nonsense. But yeah, I mean, you take boxing down to a science, especially if I'm going to fight a guy 300 pounds bigger than me. You know what I mean? So you have to measure where his reach is, what his best punch is, what are his little nuances that he does, how does he keep his footwork, what does he do after he throws a punch, what does he do when he misses after he throws a punch. When you put your arms up, let him throw himself out a little bit, take some shots, guard your body. There's a lot of different science behind how to win a fight. So I'm just saying. So a lot of people go, oh, skinny Ted, wimpy Ted. Well, oh, wait. Sorry, guys. I got to find this house.
And I would like you to also notice that he was driving while he's giving us our boxing lesson, okay? I know I went through so many and I'm like, wait a minute. I know what song is perfect for this. And I thought it was funny because, like I said, you notice he's driving. So there's like all this stuff going on. All this stuff. So much stuff going on in that video. But so like I said, just a little bit of lighthearted fun. I have to have fun every once in a while. We can't all be all about murder and death and horrible people and no, but he says that, but I've seen people doubt him because it swerves all over the expressway. So I don't know how much he might say he drives a self-driving car, but I don't know if it really is. Because he looked like he was steering there a couple times. So, but on that lovely note, I am going to get out of here. And tomorrow is Friday. I probably will not be on tomorrow. I'm not sure yet. So I make no promises. But I will let you know. I'll try and schedule something a little bit ahead of time. So again, if you haven't yet, please hit that thumbs up button for me. And if you haven't yet, hit the subscribe button. I'm a little mix of everything. Got some true crime, fun, nails, self-care, all that fun stuff. So yeah. Other than that, everybody have a great night. Thanks for coming in. Thanks for laughing with us with the whole boxing lesson. I'm sure. And Doug, don't forget, roll, roll, roll. Don't forget. So everyone have an awesome, awesome day or awesome night. And I will talk to you later. Peace, love, and claws, y'all. Good night.